You woke up this morning to 17 articles telling you GPT 5.4 is here, superhuman, 83% of professional tasks, a million tokens. The headlines are breathless. The question is, does any of it matter for your actual work? I've spent the past 3 weeks testing GPT 5.4 on real projects, not benchmarks, not cherry-picked demos, actual client work. And what I found, it's complicated. This is AI tools that work. I'm here to separate the marketing from reality. Let's talk about what GPT 5.4 actually does and whether it's worth your $20 a month. Here's what OpenAI is claiming. GPT 5.4 beats human professionals on 83% of tasks, up from 70% with the previous version. That's a massive jump if it's real. They're also touting a million token context window. For perspective, that's about 750,000 words. 3,000 pages, an entire codebase, a full year of emails, all in one conversation. And the model can now use your computer, like literally navigate your screen, click buttons, fill out forms, native computer use built right in. So that's the pitch. Now let's talk about what I actually experienced when I put it to work. First, some background. OpenAI dropped GPT 5.4 on March 5th, just 3 weeks ago. It was their first simultaneous release across ChatGPT, the API, and Codex at the same time. That's actually significant. Usually, API developers get new models first, then it trickles down to consumers. This time, everyone got access on the same day. The timing matters too. This dropped right after Anthropic released Claude Opus 4.6 and Google pushed out Gemini 3.1. It's a three-way arms race, and nobody wants to fall behind. The competitive pressure shows in what GPT 5.4 tries to be. It's not just a language model anymore. It's a unified system that combines reasoning, coding, and now direct computer control. OpenAI says GPT 5.4 achieved 75% on something called OS World Verified. That's a benchmark for computer use tasks. The human professional baseline, 72.4%. Translation: in controlled tests, GPT 5.4 can navigate software interfaces better than the average professional, clicking menus, filling forms, executing multi-step workflows. The computer use feature can process visual inputs up to 10 million pixels. Then it outputs precise coordinate commands, telling the system exactly where to click. Now here's where I have to be honest. I tested computer use on 3 different workflows: filling out expense reports, updating a CRM, scheduling meetings across time zones. 2 out of 3 worked beautifully. The expense report, flawless. Pulled data from receipts, filled every field, even categorized correctly. The CRM update, same story, smooth. But the calendar task, it got confused by my company's custom scheduling interface. Clicked the wrong drop-down 3 times. Eventually, I just did it myself faster. This matches what other users are reporting. One reviewer noted GPT 5.4 felt better for some real coding work, but said competitors talk better and produce nicer output formatting. That's the trade-off I kept seeing. GPT 5.4 is incredibly capable at complex tasks, but Claude still writes more natural prose. Gemini still formats output more cleanly. No single model wins everything. Let's talk about that million token context window. In practice, this means you can upload an entire codebase, thousands of files, and ask questions about any part of it. I tested this with a client's legacy system, 42,000 lines of Python across 300 files. Uploaded the whole thing. Asked, where does the authentication flow break if the token expires? It found the bug. Not instantly, it took about 30 seconds of processing, but it traced the logic across 7 different files and pinpointed exactly where the session validation was failing. That would have taken me hours of manual tracing, maybe a full day, and I know this codebase fairly well. For someone new to a project, this is potentially transformative. Here's a key quote from the technical analysis. It's now one model that can write code, navigate a computer screen, build a slide deck, and analyze a contract, all in the same session. That versatility is both a strength and a weakness. You can't choose a specialized variant anymore. Want pure coding performance? You get the unified model. Need only document analysis? Same unified model. Pricing has stayed the same. ChatGPT Plus is still $20 a month for access. The API costs $2.50 per million input tokens and $20 per million output tokens. For comparison, that's actually competitive. Claude Pro is also $20. Gemini Advanced is $20. The API pricing is in the same ballpark as competitors. The thinking capability got an upgrade too. GPT 5.4 thinking can provide an upfront planning preamble before it starts working, and, this is new, you can correct it mid-response. That mid-response correction is actually huge for long tasks. Previously, if the model went in the wrong direction, you'd have to start over. Now you can say, wait, not that approach, and it pivots without losing context. The benchmark that gets the most attention, 83% superhuman performance across professional tasks. That sounds incredible, but let's unpack what that actually means. Benchmarks are artificial. They're design tests with clear right answers. Real work is messy. Your specific task, writing that quarterly report, debugging that particular API, might fall in the 17% where it still struggles. I ran the same prompt through GPT 5.4 and Claude on 5 different real projects this month. Legal document review, GPT 5.4 was more thorough. Marketing copy, Claude sounded more human. Code refactoring, honestly, a toss-up. The point isn't that one model is universally better. It's that for any given task, you should test both. The winner changes depending on what you're actually trying to do. Now, about that unified model approach. GPT 5.4 combines flagship reasoning with elite coding abilities that used to be exclusive to GPT 5.3 codecs. Previously, developers could choose between reasoning-optimized models and coding-optimized models. Now it's one model for everything. Some users love the simplicity, others miss the specialization. For most people paying $20 a month, this probably doesn't matter. You're getting a more capable general model. The trade-offs only become relevant if you had very specialized workflows. So here's my honest take. If you're already paying for ChatGPT Plus, you have immediate access to GPT 5.4. You might want to test it this week on something you actually do. Here's a concrete experiment. Take your longest document, a full code base, an annual report, a bundle of contracts, and upload the whole thing. Ask it questions that span the entire content. Something like, what are the 3 biggest risks mentioned across all these documents? Or, where does the code reference this deprecated function? The million token context is where this model shines brightest. You might also consider testing the computer use feature on a repetitive task you do weekly. Something tedious but predictable, like filling out the same form in different systems. But don't trust it blindly for anything mission critical. Always verify the output. Computer use especially, it's impressive but not infallible. That dropped column from my spreadsheet test still haunts me. Here's the real question you're probably asking. Should I switch from Claude? Should I add another subscription? Or is what I have already good enough? My honest answer, probably not worth adding a second subscription unless you have specific needs. If Claude handles your work well, it still handles it well. GPT 5.4 isn't so much better that it justifies doubling your spend. But if you're choosing between them for a new subscription, test both on your actual workflows. I'd suggest running the same complex prompt through each and comparing not just the output, but how it felt to work with. One more suggestion. Try the mid-response correction feature. Start a complex task, let it run for a bit, then interrupt with a different direction. See how gracefully it pivots. That's where you'll feel the difference. Look, I know the constant upgrade cycle is exhausting. New model every few months, new benchmarks, new claims. It's hard to know what actually matters. Here's what I've learned after years of testing these tools. The model that works best is the one you actually use consistently. Features don't matter if they don't fit your workflow. GPT 5.4 is genuinely impressive. The benchmarks back it up. 75% on computer use tasks, beating human professionals, 83% superhuman across the board. But impressive isn't the same as useful. The question isn't whether GPT 5.4 can do amazing things in controlled tests. It's whether it can do the specific thing you need reliably right now. And that's something no benchmark can tell you. Only testing on your own documents, your own code, your own actual Tuesday afternoon spreadsheet nightmare can reveal that. The AI landscape in March 2026 is more competitive than ever. OpenAI, Anthropic, and Google are all pushing million token contexts, all claiming superhuman performance, all pricing at $20, which means you're not locked in anymore. If GPT 5.4 doesn't work for you, Claude is right there, Gemini is right there, competition has given you options, use them. If this kind of honest breakdown helps you navigate the noise, consider subscribing. We test these tools so you don't have to wade through the marketing hype yourself. New episodes drop every week. My recommendation: if you're paying for ChatGPT Plus, experiment with GPT 5.4 this week. Try the long context. Try computer use. See how it handles your actual work. If it works better than what you were using, great. If it doesn't, you haven't lost anything. Your subscription stays the same price either way. And remember, superhuman on 83% of tasks means it's still very human on 17% of them. Your task might be in that 17%. The only way to know is to test. That's the honest assessment of GPT 5.4. Genuine improvements in context window, computer use, and unified capabilities. Real limitations in specialized tasks and output polish. Worth trying? Absolutely. Worth the hype? That depends entirely on you. This has been AI Tools That Work. I'm testing these tools so you can spend less time researching and more time getting actual work done. Until next time, stay skeptical, stay curious. And remember, the best AI tool is the one that actually works for your specific workflow. Everything else is just marketing.